Okay, so infant sleep. I feel like this is the most common stressor I've seen with new parents. Personally, like I function so much better. I think everyone functions better on a good night's rest. I don't know anyone that really functions well on like 2 hours of sleep. Um, and it's a huge shift. I think for moms, it can be a little less of a shift because towards the end of pregnancy, it's a little less comfortable to sleep. So you start getting used to disrupted sleep. Um, but then it's, waking every so you have to feed your baby every 3 hours, but that's from the start time of the feeding. So like we were talking about on Tuesday, your baby might in the beginning struggle to nurse and maybe the feeding takes longer. They might be a sleepy nurser, and it can make the feeding take a while, and then getting them back down by the time you go to sleep, um, it can be a very short chunk of sleep. So on Tuesday we kind of talked about um, doing what works for your family. So if dividing the night up and having your partner have certain tasks works better, do that. I don't think there's like a textbook answer to what works for each family. Every family is different, and um, you might both be working parents. You might both be working parents, but one has a longer leave. You might be planning to stay home and one is returning to work, or there's a whole bunch of different combinations of what that can look like. I know Hillary talked about having the bassinet on her partner's side of the bed, so his job was to do like the diaper change and everything and hand her the baby, and then she put the baby back in the bassinet, that sort of thing. There are a lot of benefits to room sharing, but I know it's not practical for every family. Most of the babies, well, all of the babies I've worked with have started sleeping through the night by 10 weeks, knock on wood. I'm hoping that continues. And I think that a huge part of it is just they go from this space in the womb where they have everything they need. It's the most calm space they can be, to this bright world where we might not think these things in our house are exciting. We walk down a hallway in our house and there's a photo on the wall, and it's just a photo. We walk past it every day, but your baby has never seen that photo or a photo at all. So it's very stimulating for them, which is why it's important to have like a designated sleep space. It can be different during the day, but at night there should be a spot where you're doing their nighttime routine. I think it's really important in the beginning to schedules are hard to follow, but having like a nighttime routine, I think is good. I think babies don't really start following a routine until 8 weeks, but I think for parent sanity, it's good to have a routine because it's like, okay, here's what we do each night. Here's how long it takes. And then our baby's asleep when that's done. There's this thing called the witching hour, which is it can be different for each baby, but it's usually between like sometime in the evening to like 9-10 p.m. Like it's a wide range of when it can begin, but usually your baby's very fussy during that time. Good naps during the day support good sleep at night. So to avoid the witching hour, making sure your baby's on a good nap routine. As adults, like if we're up all day doing something all day long, staying very busy, by the end of the day, we're ready to pass out and we're going to sleep great. But an infant, they're so overtired and overstimulated that they will not go to sleep and they will just keep waking up. So it's important to have good naps during the day. At night, it's more important to have a specific spot where they're sleeping. During the day, there's not as much pressure to have you can have a specific nap place for them, but if your baby naps in the car, that counts as a nap, that's okay. If your baby naps while being worn in a carrier, that's okay. I'd say the important thing though is if you're doing a nap time routine at your home, don't start it like out in the living room. It might seem fine, but the light, all of the things in your home really are distracting to your infant and can be a huge reason why your baby won't nap. There's this idea where you're supposed to put your baby down while they're drowsy but still awake. The reason people recommend that is because the analogy I heard was imagine you fell asleep and you woke up and your pillow was gone. You're not going to go back to sleep until you figure out where it went. And if your infant falls asleep in your arms and they wake up and they're somewhere completely different, they're going to be like, wait, where's mom? Where's dad? Where am I? These poor babies go through like the most, like weird sleep ever. They fall asleep in a car seat and wake up like in Target or in the library, like just all over. And it's just, they have no idea where they are, which is like fine. Babies are pretty, if you're a go with the flow kind of family, your baby's probably gonna follow in that, and that's okay to like run errands and do your thing while they're sleepy. I actually recommend that. It's gonna be the calmest time if your baby sleeps in their car seat for you to like go and peacefully grocery shop. But it's a little odd for them to wake up in like all these new places and not be where they fell asleep. So the idea is, if your baby is still slightly awake, not in a deep sleep yet, when you put them down in their crib, the last thing, or their bassinet, wherever, if you're co-sleeping in your bed, wherever your their sleep spot is, when you put them down, the last thing they see is that space around them, not you. So if they wake up after a sleep cycle, it's easier for them to go back to sleep because they're not in some new space. They're exactly where they were when they first fell asleep. Infant sleep cycles are only 45 minutes, so they're not in deep sleep as long as we are. So a lot of times it'll feel like you just got your baby down and they wake up 30 minutes later, and it's because they did finish a sleep cycle, but that it's a short sleep cycle and they're having trouble connecting them, which is why the whole putting down while drowsy but still awake thing is recommended. Infants sometimes sleep with their eyes open. The way you can tell is like they'll be like you can tell their eyes look, they kind of like roll back, they look a little crazy. But one of the things I do is I take like my like finger and just go like this and stroke their forehead, and they'll just close their eyes. So if you think, sometimes infants, like you'll be rocking them and they'll seem like they're falling asleep and you've done everything and they're just kind of zoned out staring at you, and you just move your finger across their forehead and they close their eyes, and that's it. That's one of my like secret things I do, and I really recommend it. It works. But yeah, so put your infant down wherever they're going to sleep. That doesn't mean you immediately, like, you don't need to put them down and like run away and be like, don't see me, I'm not here. You can put a hand on their chest and stand kind of like where they can't see you. Or even like on Tuesday, I was talking about sometimes babies kind of fold their legs up, scrunch them up in a bent position when you first put them down, and they can like startle themselves awake when they go to put them down. So you can kind of pat on their legs and make sure they are relaxed and completely sleeping flat in their crib or wherever they're sleeping. But yeah, so drowsy. I mean, if you're rocking your baby and they fall asleep in your arms, don't feel like bad about it. Don't be like, oh, I got to wake them up a little bit to stick them in the crib. Like, they're probably going to be fine. But building that habit in the beginning can be good, because then, Emma, I'm going to get to your question. I promise. I'm going to go over all of my sleep suggestions. But yeah, so what was I saying? The other thing I want to go over is wake windows, which I have a chart for you guys. If you looked in the like PDF thing that I linked on Tuesday, you can see that. But a lot of times the issue with, okay, so Emma's 4-month-old. So has anyone heard the term sleep regression or LEAP? Yeah, you'll hear there's like a 4-month sleep regression, a 6-month sleep regression, a 9-month sleep regression. They're like every few months. I don't like the term sleep regression. I like the term sleep progression, because what's happening at 4 months is your baby started to produce melatonin on their own, which means they can regulate their sleep, but they haven't ever been able to fully regulate their sleep before. So it completely disrupts their sleep to begin with. Wonder Weeks is a great app. There's a couple other ones too that will, if you're planning to track your infant sleep and like feedings, I like the Hatch Baby app, and it'll notify you of like when a LEAP is beginning. I feel like, in my opinion, LEAP is kind of that term that's like they're going through a period of adjustment, and the LEAP the word leap to me is like, there is an end to this. This isn't forever. I've had so many parents that are like, oh my gosh, my baby's crying so much. Is this foreshadowing? Like, is this what they're going to be like for the entire year? And I'm like, no, tomorrow they could be completely calm. They're just going through their leap right now. And it can end in a week. It can end in a day. Like the app will tell you like kind of when it's, how long it's expected to last. But you could be like at the end of this really tough week and think like this is forever. And then, you know, the next day be back on track. But yeah, so with melatonin, babies receive melatonin through your breast milk. So if you are feeding, if you are planning to breastfeed your baby, the milk that you nurse your baby with at night has melatonin to help encourage sleep. But also if you pump at night, label that milk so that you know it's nighttime milk, and use that at night. It also has more fat in it to keep baby full a little bit longer. There's just different, you'll see like with breast milk, if you breastfeed a baby who is completely healthy, everything's normal, and then you pump that day, your breast milk will be one color. And then if your baby has a cold the next day and you pump, your breast milk is going to be a completely different color. Your baby signals to your body what is supposed to be in your breast milk. So the time of day that you are pumping does make a difference. I mean, if you have a bunch of milk stored up and you pull out a nighttime pumped like bag of milk and give it to your baby during the day, that's completely fine. But if you're doing a bottle at night, it can be good to use nighttime milk. In the morning, when your baby is up and their day is beginning, open the curtains, let some light in. That's another way. Emma, I think like that can be really great with a 4-month-old who's starting to regulate their sleep, is opening the curtains, make sure they know it's daytime. A 4-month-old isn't going to be super active. They're not doing much yet, but it's good to still get activities in, which is one of the things I'm going to go over. So I'll try to give you as many tips as I can, Emma. And if there's anything that you want to ask at the end, like if you've tried everything I've said, let me know. Because I really want to, I'm a big believer in getting babies to sleep so that parents are sane and happy. So if anyone has sleep questions, please ask me. But in the beginning, if you have your newborn should be napping like 4 to 5 times a day. Your newborn in those first few weeks can sleep 18 to 20 hours a day. So they're going to be sleeping a lot. You still need to wake them to eat, but they're very sleepy. That doesn't show what they're going to be like long-term though. They're going to wake up, they're going to become more alert. They're going to realize that they're in a new space. They're going to see all these overstimulating things. But that's okay. When I say like overstimulating, one of my favorite daytime activities for an infant is walk them around your house and point at things and be like, this is a picture of our family. This is a teapot. This is a cup. This is how we fill the cup with water. Like very basic things. This is how your baby learns. Language is from you talking. So talking to your baby is great. But it's also just exciting. Like babies get excited about a tree. I mean, that's the example I've always used. And one of the families I work with posted a family photo of them and they like captioned and were like, sorry, Iris looks crazy. She noticed a tree. And she's like 9 months old and is like making this face, like she's looking at a tree and just thought it was like the best thing ever. Again, going outside is a great activity because these things are all new. I think one of the best things about working with children or being a parent with infants, but also with toddlers, is they really just teach you to slow down. We function on autopilot. We do the same commutes to work every day. We drive to the same grocery stores. We drive past all these things and we've seen them all. We don't really pay attention to it anymore. We don't look down at the crack in the sidewalk and notice the little caterpillar crawling around, but your toddler will. Your toddler's going to point out every little thing. And it might drive you crazy. They're going to ask why, and all the time you answer them and they ask why again, and they want to stop and look at everything. But it really teaches you to just slow down and look around at the world and realize like how beautiful a lot of these things that we just like walk past are. So I think activities to kind of like tire your infant out, they're simple. You don't need to like sign up for every single baby gym class, and those can be great, but I think those are more for parents in the sense that it's somewhere to go. I know with COVID it's different, but it's somewhere to go. It's a way to get out of the house. It helps the day go by faster. So definitely go to things like story time, music classes, whatever. But I think finding your people so that you're enjoying the activities as well. It's great for your baby to see other babies and socialize, but a lot of times the activities you can do are just very, very simple. Um, I recommend finding a baby buddy. So pick a friend. Yes, playgroup. And there's virtual playgroup now, which I know sounds like weird, but I went and talked at one of them and it was actually great. And all the kids like interact, and it's not as like sad COVID times as you would think. Like it actually is really great. So finding your group, and it's also again like peer support, finding your group of moms that you can talk to and dads you can talk to. And once it's warm out again, I do a play group at the Immersion Montessori School in Norwich. And it's outside, it's free. We do like water play, and they have like an amazing playground and just so much space. And it's just basically like wear a mask if you want to, but social distance, and just like spread out and let your kids run around and have a space where they can just go in and play and get that energy out. But yeah, find your baby buddy, find a friend who your babies don't need to be the same age, but someone where you can go and like meet up once a week and just go for a walk together. I knew this group of moms who would meet up, I think it was once a month they did this, but they would go to different breweries, and the breweries had like a toy box for their toddlers, and they would like put the kids in the corner and play, and then they would all just like sit and chat, and the kids like were regulars at these places, and they just knew like that's where our toys are, we go play. And like the moms all hang out, and they did it. They had like a couple places they went to, but they made a list of like, here's all the places we want to check out that we haven't been to, or like a coffee shop. If you're in the Upper Valley, my favorite coffee shop if you're bringing a baby along is Umplebee's, because it has the most space and you can actually fit a stroller in there. That's a huge issue, is maneuvering a stroller into a coffee shop. A lot of them are cramped, but once you find a good one, be a regular, go and enjoy your coffee. And usually during that walk, like if you park in one part of town and walk to the coffee shop, by the time you get there, your baby's probably going to be asleep. And then you can just sit and enjoy your coffee. One of my favorite things in the summer to do with infants is in the Upper Valley, like in Hanover, we have Dartmouth, but like the Green was a great spot to just lay a blanket and put the baby on a blanket. And I would just sit and read a book, or like lay down next to the baby and just like enjoy the sunlight. And they are so happy just to look at the clouds and the trees and around at the people, that it was just like, if I was having a stressful day, or the day just felt like it was dragging on, and we were running out of activities, we would just go outside and lay on a blanket and enjoy the sun. So it's really simple. And I think it's important to find activities. If there's something that you enjoy doing pre-pregnancy, find a way to do it where you can involve your baby. So say like you're a huge yoga person, you love yoga and you want to get back into doing yoga. When your baby's doing tummy time on the floor, go and do yoga right next to them. Every time you like go down into a different position, your baby's gonna like get all excited to see your face. So there's like ways to involve your baby. I work with a family who really loves cross country skiing, and they go on the golf course, and they took their baby, and baby wore him the other day and cross country skied. Just make sure you fall on your butt and not on your face, and you're good to go. But they went slow, and they went on like a spot where they knew maybe it wasn't their favorite place to go, but it was a spot where they knew they could safely ski and bring the baby along. But yeah, so activities will help during the day to get your baby a little more tired out. You don't want to overstimulate them though. Your wake windows for your infant in the beginning are 45 to 90 minutes. So if you think about that, like they wake up and they might be ready to eat when they wake up, or maybe some babies, want to eat right when they wake up. Some want to eat at the end of that wake window to fall asleep. But the amount of time you're going to spend nursing your baby, getting them up from their nap, getting their diaper changed, all of those things, by the time all of that's done, you're not going to have that much time to do like an activity. It's not like you have a 3-hour chunk where your baby's awake and you are going to go take them to the zoo or something and walk around. Like there's it really is a short chunk of time. So I think it's good to make a list of activities that you can do, make a list of activities that you enjoy doing with your infant and that feel relaxing to you. So like one of the things I used to do if I needed to get out of the house was bring the baby and my dog to the dog park and baby wear and let the dog run around. And it was like, okay, it calmed me down because I knew like, okay, my dog's getting his energy out and he's good to go, but the baby's also getting outside. And I just get to stand there and I don't really have to do anything. I just get to look at like, watch the dog run around, and it doesn't cause it's not a lot of work for me to do. So activities that you can just, do that don't take too much effort and feel you don't need to plan like a huge day every day. In the morning, if you have like one of the little baby bouncy seats or a swing or like just a spot where you can put your baby, I think in the morning it's really great to set them up in their little, whatever you're going to put them in, even just on a blanket on the floor, and go make your morning coffee or your breakfast or whatever, and go sit down like in your living room on the floor next to your baby and let them just like stare at whatever they're going to stare at and just quietly enjoy your breakfast, and give yourself that time. I think that so many parents, moms and dads, get so busy you forget to eat. I think that morning period is a time where like usually you can have a calm start to your morning. And it's important, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Start your day off right, but it's a nice, just calm time. I always like would turn on just quiet music, whatever music is great for babies. Play whatever music you want to listen to. If you're listening to like heavy metal, just turn it down a bit, but let your baby listen to whatever you're going to listen to. When your baby's a little bit older or you have a toddler and you're getting into like more children's music, the Laurie Berkner band is like an all-time favorite. She's great and has like fun songs. Yeah, I think that those are like she's my favorite to like actually enjoy the kids music I'm listening to. But there's like so many Spotify and Pandora like stations that you can play that have like music that's not gonna drive you crazy. But yeah, music is great. Just kind of have a calm start to the morning. If you watch the news, turn the news on in the background, keep it on low, position the baby where they're not like facing the TV because they'll get like completely zoned into that. But like have it just a quiet time where you can just have your breakfast and sit with your baby. And then by the time all that's done, they're probably going to go down for a nap again. And you can go back to sleep for that nap too. I think if you're going to nap with your baby, personally, I'm one of those people who like constantly has the experience where you like nap midday and then you wake up and you just feel like groggy and not great. Part of the reason that happens is our sleep cycles as adults are an hour and a half. So if you have the opportunity to sleep for an hour and a half or 2 hours, it's better to sleep for an hour and a half, because you get one complete sleep cycle versus sleeping 2 hours and waking up while you're in the next sleep cycle, and then you just feel like you don't feel well rested. So with optimizing sleep, if you're going to sleep while your baby sleeps, sometimes it's better to take the shorter nap to ensure that you get that full sleep cycle. But I like to sleep in the morning during the baby's morning nap because I feel like then after that nap, it's still morning when you wake up, and it feels like you're just starting your day. I feel like that morning period where you're having breakfast with your baby and just kind of hanging out. I mean, parents, don't feel pressured to like change out of your pajamas anyways, wear whatever you want around your house, but like don't go and get ready until after that little, just have like a calm start to your morning. I think that's really great. I think in the evenings, going back to like sleep, in the witching hour, one of my favorite things to recommend if you have a baby who has like a really intense witching hour, that's very overwhelming, is split duties with your partner. So if one of you loves to cook, or maybe you both love to cook and you want to do this like every other night, but one of you focus on baby bedtime routine and the other one focus on cooking. Do part of the routine together. Like maybe you do bath time together or you read a story to your baby together. I think it's important to start. It might not seem like they're interested in the very beginning with like doing story time at bedtime, But I think it's really great. It's another activity to do with your infant. It's a way to introduce new words and language. It's fun watching your baby hear a new word for the first time. I worked with one infant who the first time she heard the word llama, her face, like she thought it was like the craziest word ever. She's also the one that got excited over the tree. She had great reactions to everything. Like they get excited over things that we just think are very simple. But I think the other thing with doing a story time or having a specific song. So a lot of the babies I work with at overnights, I sing the song "You Are My Sunshine" all the time. It's like what my mom sang to me. It's the only one I like really know all the words to. A lot of times I'll work with families where like I get to their house and the minute they hand me the baby, I start singing the song. I am a terrible singer, probably the worst to ever exist. So either they're falling asleep because they don't want to hear me sing anymore, or my theory is that they associate the song with bedtime because every time I put them to bed, I sing the same song. So the minute I start singing it, they pass out. Same with doing a story time. Do a book like Goodnight Moon, keep it short, keep it simple, but they're going to associate that with that time of night. Okay, when mom and dad read this book, when they sing this song, when they put me in my sleep sack, these are all things we do at bedtime. It's time for me to go to bed, and it gets their body to kind of like relax and go to sleep. So do part of the nighttime routine together, but when it's getting to the longer part where maybe you're like, maybe you want to breastfeed your baby and you don't want to use bottles, or whatever your preference is with feeding, you have that time to sit down and like nurse your baby and get them to sleep while your partner is cooking dinner. And then by the time you're done getting your baby to sleep, dinner's ready. You come out into the kitchen, you're able to sit down and eat dinner together. Baby's asleep. You guys are able to have time as a couple where you can talk about your day. And you're not both like stressed out about the baby. You're able to just sit down and have time together. If you have a baby who sleeps really well, like in it, or like hangs out with you guys during dinner time, obviously like that's great. If they're going to just like sleep in the bassinet near you guys, that's fine too. But if it's becoming a stressful time, I think push your dinner back a little bit and do it after bedtime. Your baby's probably going to be asleep around 7 anyways, so it would just be like a little bit later of a dinner than the average dinner time. But I think it's worth it to have that time together. Yeah, does anyone have any questions about sleep? Okay, so has anyone heard of a dream feed? Does anyone know what that is? Okay, so dream feed is when you feed your baby while they're still asleep, which sounds kind of odd, but babies have this reflex where when you put a nipple in their mouth, they start sucking. They just do. So you can, it's just, there's some science behind it, but they know that once that's there. Yep. So Hillary said that they did it from 3 months to 10 months. I think it's really great so say you don't go to bed until 10 p.m., but your infant's asleep at 7 p.m. and they are going to eat again around 10:30, 11. It sucks if you go to sleep at 10 p.m. and you wake up 30 minutes later to feed your baby. It's like, why even lay down at that point? So what you can do is if you know that they're going to be up for a feeding soon, you can go and do a dream feed where you don't even really wake them up. You just pick them up and latch them on. Some babies don't have an interest in a dream feed, but a lot of them do. Or you give them a bottle and they will drink, and you can top them off and get enough milk in them to get them to go a few more hours. That way, when you go to sleep, you're not waking up 30 minutes later. The other reason a dream feed can be good is if you have a baby who's consistently waking up at 3 a.m. or like any time in the middle of the night, and say they wake up and they eat, but then they're up for a really long time and it's hard to get them back down, and they just seem like some babies just have a period in the night, like a 2-hour chunk where they are just awake and they don't want to go back to sleep. They're not upset. They're just like, nope, I'm awake. I'm going to hang out and just stare at the ceiling. I'm good. If your baby does that and they're calm, you can go back to sleep. Really, it's fine. If they're crying and they need you, you will know that. But if they're just hanging out in their crib, that's okay. They're safe. But if you know that they're waking up at 3 a.m. every night and then it's hard for them to go back down, go in at like 2:45 and do a dream feed and see if they just stay asleep and don't have that like awake period. Eventually they might just drop the feeding completely and sleep through. So that's why a dream feed could be good. The other thing I was going to say about nighttime routine. So if you're pumping milk or using formula or something where your partner is able to do a feeding, the other thing that you can do is have that be like a bonding time. The baby that got excited about the tree, the way her parents did bedtime is the dad worked all day and he came home and wanted that time to like just bond with his baby and see her. And he did story time and fed her a bottle and put her down for bed so that he got that one-on-one time. And it wasn't stressful. Even though it was like the witching hour period, he was so excited to have that time with her because it was after like being at work all day, it was their one-on-one father-daughter time. So he did the bottle and let his wife go to sleep a little bit earlier because then she was getting up throughout the night to do feedings. I think the other reason it can be good to have your partner kind of handle that witching hour is because every family is different, but like the typical family, if we're talking about like textbook family that like everything's based on the nuclear family, usually the birthing parent is the one that is staying home or stays home longer. Even if they are returning to work, they have a longer leave because they're healing, they gave birth, all sorts of reasons. But if your partner's going back to work and they are away from their baby all day, they're not under the same amount of stress that you are when you are caring for your baby all day and you're holding that baby all day long and dealing with the ups and downs, the screaming, the crying all day long. It can feel very overwhelming. So it can be nice when your partner comes home and is able to just come in and be less stressed and take over that witching hour. If you've been with your baby all day, the witching hour is going to feel even more overwhelming. Babies also pick up on your mood. So a lot of the families I work with, I'll walk into their house and the baby's screaming, everyone's stressed out, I'll pick up the baby, they immediately calm down. It's not because I'm some like magical superhero and I'm like, oh, I have the magic touch. It's because I'm coming in and I'm well rested and not stressed. And the baby can tell that the parents are calming down when I come in because they know like, okay, someone's here to help. Sometimes you need to just set your baby in a safe space and step away, and that's okay. If your infant's screaming and crying and you're getting overwhelmed, put them in their crib and just go step outside of the room and just take a breath. Sometimes you just need a minute to like regroup, go back in and try all of the things again. Diaper, are they fed? Are they wet? Like go through the checklist of all of the things they could possibly need. But sometimes you just need to take a minute and step away, and they're safe in their crib. You can put them in a safe space and don't feel guilty about that, because the other side of things is you get so stressed. Has everyone heard of shaking baby syndrome? Okay. Yeah, so a lot of people get so stressed out they don't know what to do, and they shake their baby, which is very dangerous. So if you feel yourself getting stressed out, and that, I know that sounds like, before having a baby or being around babies, it can sound like such a crazy thing, like who would get to that point? But the best parents I've worked with have even said like, I was just so overwhelmed I had to put the baby down and step out of the room for a minute, and that's fine. It does not mean that you're a bad parent or that you're not doing a good job or anything. It happens to everyone. So I don't know if everyone knows about like Good Beginnings and New Beginnings, but like the different organizations throughout like New Hampshire and Vermont that do like volunteer and home postpartum support. One of the things they go over in their training for their volunteers is to tell parents, put your baby in the crib and go vacuum. The white noise from the vacuum might make your baby fall asleep. And it sounds so bad saying it, but it blocks out the crying for enough time for you to just like take a minute and calm down and then go back in that room. And if you go back in the room less stressed, it's going to be a lot easier to get your infant calmed down. Again, like the 5 S's are my biggest thing with calming a baby down. So swaddle them, not the swaying motion, I don't believe in that, but more of like the bouncing motion and patting their bottom and the white noise shushing sound. I think at nighttime, blackout curtains are amazing. Get blackout curtains for your nursery. That is like my biggest thing. If you don't have a sound machine yet and you're planning to get one, My favorite one is the Hatch sound machine. You can control it from your phone. The volume goes up more than some of the other ones. Dr. Harvey Karp, who's like the creator of the 5S's and also made like the Snoo, and he's the author of Happiest Baby on the Block. Like he's one of the bigger names out there. He was explaining the way sound machine, like when your infant is screaming, they can't hear the sound machine playing because their scream is so loud it's blocking it out. So having a sound machine where you can adjust the volume from outside of the room, if your baby starts fussing, you can turn it up a little bit and see if they go back to sleep and calm down before you go in the room. So I really like the Hatch sound machine. Don't set it to like rainforest sounds. Set it to like wind or whatever one makes like a shh sound. That's like the best sound. I usually just there's like an ocean wave and a wind one. I usually just click through them until I find the one that sounds the best to me. You can use the Hatch as a night light for like, I think during diaper changes and feedings in the night, it's good to have a night light on instead of, or like a dim lamp instead of turning on a bright light in the room. But I would turn the night light off when they're sleeping. It might seem like such a small thing, but I would even cover like any lights in the room. Like if you have a camera monitor and it has like the little blue or red light at the top, put like a piece of tape over the light. Don't have like, because your baby will find the one light in the room and just stare at it. So either place it in a spot where like it's not in their line of sight, or cover the light on it. I think it's really important to have a dark room, and having a dark room and then opening the curtains during the morning to let them know that it's daytime, again, helps with melatonin. Yeah. Does anyone plan to use pacifiers? I am like super supportive of pacifiers. I think they're great. I think there's a lot of like different opinions out there that you'll hear, but I think if a good breastfeeding relationship or just feeding relationship in general, whatever option you're choosing, is established. Sorry about my dogs. I think that once that relationship is established, it's completely safe to use pacifiers. Non-nutritive suckling is really important with infants. It reduces the risk of SIDS. There's a lot of benefits to pacifiers. If you have a smaller baby, a preemie, pacifiers can be really great for them. So I'm really supportive of pacifiers. One of the like biggest recommendations by sleep trainer, educator, whatever you want to call sleep specialists, is to put multiple pacifiers in your infant's crib once they're a little bit older, because they'll spit out their pacifier. And so many parents get to this point where like their baby's sleeping great, but then they're just going in to pop the pacifier in their mouth, and then they leave the room and then they go back in, and all you're doing all night long is just putting the pacifier in your baby's mouth, and that's all they need. It's not like you're using it. I'm just gonna let my dog in. Hold on. Very excited puppies. It's not like you're using the pacifier to hold your baby off from a feeding. You will know if your baby's hungry. If you put a pacifier in their mouth and they're hungry, 2 minutes later, they're going to be crying again and letting you know that they are ready to eat. So I've never seen a baby use a pacifier to like hold off from a feeding. But when you get to that point where your baby just needs a pacifier at night and you're just going in the room and putting the pacifier in your mouth, it's really annoying because you're going back to your room, or like maybe you're in the same room as them, but you're just getting up over and over and over again to give them the pacifier. It can be nice once they learn to suck their thumb and they don't need that, but some babies just prefer a pacifier. Put multiple pacifiers around them. One of like the top sleep educators says to put like 8 pacifiers in your baby's crib and just have them like all around them. So then they reach and they can just grab one, and it works. I thought it was like crazy, but I worked with a couple babies where we were like, we're just going in to give them the pacifier. Let's just surround her in pacifiers. And that did the trick. And she was sleeping through the night at 3 months old and hasn't had an issue since. And now she's a year and a half. So.
And the glow in the dark ones.
Yes, there are glow in the dark ones.
Yep. We have at least 6 in the crib for this one all the time, and they glow in the dark, so he can find them.
Yeah, that's great. Um, okay, that was pretty much all I was gonna go over. Oh, actually, I skipped over something. You can put your baby in the crib during awake times, and when they're like in a just happy, playful mood, put them in the crib. It doesn't need to be baby jail. Get them used to being in the crib even during like awake times, and make sure they know it's like a safe space, and not like a, okay, we put you in here, we shut the door and leave you alone kind of space. They can go in it during the day too. You can, if you put like a mobile above or something for them to look at, it can be distracting at night. So I'd say don't have one up at night. But during the day, if they're just going to hang out in their crib, or if you have like one of the baby play gyms that has like the like little dangly toys, a lot of the wooden ones that they make now, like you can just, you don't have to, it's not attached to the mat. You can just like move the wooden part around. So you could like set that where they're just looking at little toys and just playing in their crib. But yeah, the nursery doesn't have to just be like a space that they only go to when they're being left alone. Yeah. Does anyone have any sleep questions? Okay. Okay. The other thing I wanted to get into is like development and milestones. This is really fun because your baby's going to go through this really odd period of time where there's like a couple weeks where they just don't do anything, but they're more awake. So they're not like sleepy newborns who sleep 18 hours a day. They're more alert, but they don't do anything. And I've worked with so many families that are like, I'm so bored. My baby's great. They're calm. They're happy. Like, but I'm bored. I don't know what to do with them, which is why like daytime activities are great and things that get you out of the house are great. You can't put a baby in a jogging stroller until they're 6 months, right? 8 months. But once they have like better head control, but like if you're a runner, once your baby's 8 months old, go take them on a run. If you're not a runner, put them in a normal stroller, go for a walk. Like find little things that that work for you. But when your baby's 6 weeks old, they start smiling, social smiles, which is like so fun because before that, you'll get a smile out of them, but it's like the sleepy smile or the gassy smile, which is just as adorable. But it's fun when they're giving a smile, like in reaction to something that you do. Um, I don't want to go through like all of these because I feel like you all have to write down like a million notes of like every developmental milestone that your baby could possibly have. But there is a chart in that PDF resource guide I created. And the big thing I want to stress with like infant development is the range of normal is huge. So it is normal for an infant to start walking between 9 months and 17 months. So your friend's baby could start walking at a year old, and your baby might not start walking until they're like 16 months old. And your friend's probably going to be like, oh my gosh, why is your baby not walking? And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, my baby's delayed. Something's wrong. No, the range of normal is wide. And you'll notice it like between, if you have more than one child, you'll notice like one of your kids might walk at 9 months old and be like a super early walker, but the other one could wait until they're 15 months old. And it feels like something might be wrong. It's taking so long, but it's completely normal. So if you're stressed and think that something might be wrong, bring it up with your pediatrician, but chances are they're probably just like at a different end of the range of normal. And that's completely okay. I think that so many parents compare their babies and it just is unnecessary stress. I see it with parents who like work in childcare too. One of my friends who is a nanny was like comparing her infant to the baby she nannies. And I was like, she was like, oh, well, my baby's saying mama and this and this and this at 8 months old, and this baby's 7 months old and hasn't said a word. And I was like, yeah, and she might not say a word for many more months, and that's okay. The range of normal is very wide. So it's hard when, especially like with social media, seeing your friends post like updates on what their baby's doing. But people highlight like the exciting parts. They might be like, oh yeah, my baby's walking at this age and doing this, this, and this, and like going on and on about their amazing walking, but they're not going to talk about the fact that their baby's not talking yet. I have a friend who was like, yeah, all her babies have just been early walkers. They walk at like 9 months old, but they don't talk for a while. And that's just how it's always been. And it's different for each family, each baby. And it's hard not to compare, but try not to. I think there's just so many parts of parenting that bring like added stress that is unnecessary. And those feelings of stress are completely valid and should be addressed, and like they're all valid, but I think it's important to reduce unnecessary stress because there's so much going on in that first year, first 2 years, the entire parenting period. It's just going to be a busy time for the rest of your lives, but an exciting time. Yeah. So does anyone have questions about infant development or anything that they like specifically wanted to talk about? Okay. Oh, some of you have dogs, right? That was something you guys had mentioned on Tuesday, was like wanting to talk about dogs. How many of you are planning to birth in a location like a hospital where you are going to be gone for multiple days? Are any of? Okay, so if you're going to be gone for like a period of time away from your dogs, one of the things you can have someone do is put a hat on your baby and send like the hat, or put a hat on your baby, or like some outfit, and send someone else home with that outfit, and like let your dog start smelling it and getting used to the smell of the baby. Everyone I know, even the people who have the most well-behaved dogs, your dog will act out. I know someone who had like the most well-trained dog, never did anything wrong. The minute they brought the baby home, like the dog started she like jumped up on the counter, ate an entire pie, and like had never done anything like that ever. And they're like, where did this pie go? And the dog ate it. So even if your dog loves your baby and is like super sweet with your baby, they're probably going to have some like behavior issues. It's the same way like your toddler might have some behavior issues. They can love their new sibling, but still be like, I'm not getting as much attention. So maybe like setting aside time to like walk your dog or like really get their energy out. But I think expect that there's going to be like an adjustment period, and that's normal. I love baby sign language. I think it's really great. I think, there are so many different signs that you can practice with your baby. I think picking the ones that are most practical and that you're really going to use is important. When I worked in a preschool, we did like thank you, please, water, milk, ones like that. My friend, like her son loved to sign shoes as a sign to go outside. So they did shoes, mama, milk, dada. Babies typically say dada before they say mama, which makes people like really sad, but it's because even though your babies make like the sound sooner, it's harder for them to say mama than it is for them to say dada. So a lot of babies will sign mama before they say it. So a lot of people use that sign even if their infant is saying dada. They'll do sign language for mama. But yeah, I think that signing is really great. I think one of like the reasons toddlers and infants get so frustrated and upset is because they can't tell us what they want. They can, but like we don't really understand what they're saying sometimes, because sometimes it's just crying and we're like, I don't really know what you're trying to tell me. So having sign language where you can give them a way to express things, I think is really great. And a lot of, if you start in the beginning, usually they'll pick it up pretty quickly. Sometimes it doesn't look like, more doesn't look like more. It might just be kind of like putting their hands together. But I know that like by 10 months, my best friend's son was like signing very clearly what he wanted, and would like, he couldn't say the words, so he would kind of like get your attention, not scream, but like get your attention with like a frustrated noise. And then you'd look at him and him and he'd do whatever sign it was. And it was also a really great way for them to introduce like saying thank you and please, and showing him like patience, because sometimes, like, you know, it's hard to teach a toddler patience when they want something right away, but it was a way to be like, okay, let's sign please first, and he would do please, and then it was like, okay, now we can sit down and do whatever it was that you needed. So yeah, I think baby sign language is great, but probably pick like 5 to 10 signs to start with that are like your list of ones that you're going to use the most. My dogs are playing. Sorry, the puppies are just like rolling around. The next thing I wanted to go over, so we kind of went over bath time on Tuesday, but one of the things I wanted to touch on is like, so you can co-bathe with your infant. The thing that kind of deters some people from doing that is your baby's probably going to poop or pee while they're in the bath. So just know that if you're going to take a bath with your baby, there's going to be some, there's probably going to be some, it's not going to be as clean for you, but you can also shower with your baby. It's good to have your partner close by, because the way it's been described to me is like your slippery seal of a baby is like just their skin is super slick, and it's can be really nerve-wracking. But if you plan to like co-bathe, have your partner ready with a towel to like take the baby, so that you're not like trying to hold the baby and step out of the bathtub. And but I know a lot of dads who shower with their infant, and that's another like time that they have one-on-one with their baby, and it's great for bonding. The temperature of the bath should be around like 90 degrees Fahrenheit. You can set the test that you're supposed to do is an elbow test. So dip your elbow in the water, and if it feels too hot, then it's too hot. But a lot of times people think that you can get like the little rubber ducky that goes in the bath, and it'll like, and there's other little things like that will turn like red if it's too hot. So you can just like know based on that. But a lot of times I've worked with families who think that they're like, oh, it's way too hot. And then I touch and I'm like, actually, no, your baby's going to be a little cold in there. Because it's the same as like infants can't regulate their temperature. So we need to be more careful about the temperature of water we're putting them in. But you know, you wouldn't want to go in a cold bath. That wouldn't be like enjoyable for you, and it wouldn't be enjoyable for your baby either. One of the things you can do if you're worried about the temperature being too hot is your water heater in your house. You can set to where it will not go over 120. And a lot of people do that so that there's like it's easier to adjust the temperature with like the knob in the shower. If you have already set it to where your water heater won't go over 120, it's just easier to like adjust on there. So some people do that. Some people also do that in case like, you know, even if you're right there, when you have a toddler or just like an older infant, they like to grab at things, and they might grab the knob and like make it really hot. So there's little safety precautions like that. And of course, like you can baby proof your bathroom and do things to make sure that they're not like grabbing at that. But even if you're right there, your toddler's gonna grab at all sorts of things. So some people like to do that with the water heater, just like as a precaution. The last thing I had to like get into was, I know Hillary wanted me to touch on like belly wrapping. And then I was gonna go over baby wearing, unless anyone has any questions of what we've like covered so far. Does everyone here plan to baby wear? I'm like so into baby wearing. I think it's great. Again, with like daytime activities, it's a great way to multitask. It's great there's like this term kangaroo care. Some people would do skin to skin with their baby while they're like in a carrier. I had a friend who would wear like a nursing bra, and she'd put her baby in the carrier, and then she'd put on like a zip up hoodie to keep herself warm. But she could like just do skin to skin during the day, and dads can do that too. Like there's so many great ways to do that. I have like a million carriers. So I have 40 that people send. Companies send them to me and I like to let people try them out. So if any of you want to try a baby carrier, please reach out. But I pulled out my favorite 5 or 4 to go over. And it's not always like about a specific brand, but like the style of carrier. This is my favorite structured carrier. The most common structured carriers are the Lilla Baby, the Tula, the Ergo. Baby Bjorn is a common one. You have to be careful with Baby Bjorn because their original carrier was not approved by like the National Hip Dysplasia Association. Sorry, my dog. They're playing. But they've adjusted them now. So all the new ones should be approved and safe. But a lot of like the like Infantino and like more affordable carriers, unfortunately, now they're both trying to eat my baby carrier. They just their legs hang down. Their legs should be in an M position. So that because if you think about it, a baby's legs just dangling isn't ideal. It's the same with like baby walkers, not the little push walkers, but the one where you sit them in it. Like they're not really using their muscles and they're kind of just like dangling there. But this is so there's a brand Boba and there's a brand Becco and they combined. So if you go to the Boba or the Becco website, you find the same carriers. But this one's called the 4G. I don't know why. It reminds me of like a cell phone, but it's very simple. Oh my goodness, my dogs. I'm gonna set you guys somewhere where you can actually like see better what I am doing. Nope, now you're gonna fall. I'm too short for this. But basically, so with a structured carrier, you have this waistband and this part where like the tag, like the warning label on it is the part that goes against your skin. And then this buckles back. It should be at your waist. I pulled it way up so that you guys could see it, but it should be at your waist. And then the nice thing about these is usually there's just these 2 armholes you put on and you just buckle it in the back. Try out a carrier before you get it because you might get like an Ergo where you can't reach the buckle. This one I can reach. Sometimes you can loosen them, buckle it, and like just tighten it. My friend was using this, so this like isn't even set to my like how I would have it positioned. But I'm getting out the lovely baby doll. So she's like has her legs here bent, and this just goes up over her. Her leg is still like out on the side. So this would be how she's facing me and then be buckled, but her legs are bent and like her toes kind of peek out on the side because she's in that M position. She's also a doll, so she's not positioned the same way a baby would be, but you would see their toes kind of sticking out on the side. This one to me is like super simple and I like this, the 4G because yeah, it's the Boba, but if you go on the Becco website, it's the same one, but it's thin and it's just like more comfortable to me. I also really like the Lilla Baby because it has lumbar support. So there's like a cushion on the waistband that does like lower back support. And even though I'm young, I have a terrible back. I have an old lady back from lifting babies. And yeah, bending down to pick up babies, after a while, you just get, your back just doesn't feel the same. So I like that the Lilla Baby has that. You can face your baby outward once they are 6 months and have better head control. The other carrier I really like, I love ring slings. I think that they're like super simple. I'm all about simple and easy. Like you don't want to be like tipping yourself upside down trying to buckle like a carrier that you can't reach while your infant's screaming and you're trying to get them in it. Like simple is the way to go. But with this one, it just goes over like this and there's a ring with this loop through it. This part goes over your shoulder and you have this like pouch of material. There's a lot of different ways you can position a baby in this. If you have a newborn, they're probably going to be more like on your chest towards the front of you. This is supposed to tuck under their butt a little bit. But all you do is pull this to tighten it, this top piece right here. If you pull this part, it's tightening the part closest to them. If I pull this part, it's tightening the bottom. And then you adjust it so that it's comfortable. This should be like, the ring should be up on your shoulder. All you have to do is pull it and then your baby's in and that's it. And you can also do like a hip position. So if you have a toddler, you can put them on your hip like this and just have them like that. And you're good to go. And then all you do to take it off is you grab this ring right here and you pull it up and then it's completely loosened. So I like ring slings just because I think they're super easy. They're also more like compact. Like you could just take this and keep it in your diaper bag like this and just have it on the go. Ring slings are one where like they're all designed pretty much the same. So you might want to try one out to make sure it's like comfortable on the way, like the material and the fabric and everything. But they're designed like with the same style typically. So yeah, the Wild Bird is a great one. But if you want to just like order like a $20 one off Amazon, it's going to be the same. You just make sure you get one that like, you like the material. They also make waterproof ones. Like this one is waterproof. So in the summer we went to Storrs Pond and I stood in the water with the baby in the carrier and just like let her have her feet in the water. It was great. And it's also washable like that. So you just toss it in the wash and it's good to go. I like things that are easy to clean. If it's not going to survive my washer and dryer, it does not belong in my house. There are two wraps that I have here. So the Sully Baby, the Moby, there's a bunch of them that are all basically the same thing. It's an 18-foot long wrap. People love these. The only thing about the Sully that I did not like for me personally, and I think like this is the difference between a lot of these wraps is the thickness of the material, and the Sully was too thin for me and I couldn't get it tight enough on my body to feel as secure as I wanted it to feel. But a lot of other moms I've worked with and dads love the Sully and it fit their body type great. It just didn't work for me. So I like the Moby because it's a little bit thicker. I have a friend who's a plus size mom and she got one that was like even thicker than the Moby because she needed something that like really was secure and wasn't just like stretching as much. So that I think that's the only factor. But the Sully, the Moby, like all of those are made, I'd say to like the same quality, like they're gonna last. They're a trustworthy brand. Just figure out which one works best with your body type. The thing I like about these wraps, so this is intimidating. This is like, you don't want to be in the grocery store parking lot with this giant piece of fabric. It seems like it's like, not great, but you find the center where the tag is and put it around. This is hard to show you because I'm so short. And then these go over your back. So they crisscross and go over. And then you have these two like tails that go through that pouch that you put around. See, if I've done this a million times, so now I have it down. There's a million ways you can wrap. This is the most common one. Once you watch a YouTube video and you have like done it, it feels super simple. The nice thing about this though is it feels like you're wearing another shirt. So I worked with a mom who took a nap while she was like really intimidated by the carrier and her husband had only used it. He showed her how to use it while he was like on a lunch break and it wasn't time to use it. Like the baby was still asleep, but she had it wrapped really well. So she went and took a nap with it on. And then like right when they got up, put the baby in because it just feels like a shirt. You can wear it like this to the grocery store. So you have these two like tails, you crisscross them again and just tie them around your waist. And then you just got this little like weird situation going on where you pull this part down, one leg goes in this side and you got your baby secure here. The other leg goes in this side. So you still kind of have that M position. And then that little
part where the tag is on the center goes up and over. I love this carrier. I think it's so comfortable. I also like doing this thing where you turn your baby's head to the side, like if they're sleeping on your chest, you turn it to the side and put this part like this so that they're not breathing carbon monoxide like from being right up against you and breathing in the same air. They're to the side. They're also secure so you don't have to hold them. I've had so many babies that just sleep like this. And when they're a newborn and they're squishy and they're small, you have the ability to use your hands and like actually do things. Also, you will master using the bathroom with the baby in the carrier. So get a nice, good hold where you don't have to, you can just go to the bathroom while wearing your baby. It's like the elite level of baby wearing. But you'll learn to do like just about everything while wearing your baby. The ultimate like multitasking of parents. Also with the bathroom thing, I've worked with so many people who are like really worried about like what they should do with their baby while they go to the bathroom. Like, oh my gosh, the baby's gonna be crying. It's okay for your baby to cry. Go use the bathroom, but also it's okay to put your baby on the floor. It's actually one of the best spots to set your baby. So you can bring like a blanket and set it on the bathroom floor. I mean, make sure your bathroom floor is like clean, but I imagine all of you like I keep my house clean enough that like I would feel comfortable sitting on my floor. So keep it clean enough that you'd feel comfortable like putting your baby on the floor. But you could just lay them like on a blanket right there and they're fine. The other wrap I have is a woven wrap, which is like the same thing, but it's just like a different material. These are great if you plan to baby wear like well into toddlerhood. It's just a nice like sturdier material. It's less stretchy. And then the last one is, so Boppy, I think everyone knows the Boppy pillow. No. The Boppy pillow is, I'll grab one. This is a Boppy pillow. It's like, so you can use it like this for nursing. You can also just like set it on the floor and have your baby on it or like face them, do tummy time kind of on it. There's a bunch of uses. I think this is one of the best things that you can get. The brand is Boppy, but they started, so usually when you hear people say Boppy, they mean like the pillow, but now they're making other things. They make this carrier called the Comfy Fit. It fits in this little like sack. It's also black camo. So if you're trying to be more like neutral or masculine, you can get something instead of like, the tie-dye rainbow carrier, something a little more masculine. But again, it looks like a whole bunch of fabric and intimidating, just like all the other ones. But the thing is it's the material of a wrap, but it's structured. So again, same thing as like any other carrier, you buckle it around your waist and put your arms through the holes and then you would have your baby facing you. But then you have this like material where you can do it more wrap style. And it's called the Comfy Fit. It's just like a little more structured, but still as in the sense that like you don't need to be a master at wrapping and like taking the 18-foot long piece of fabric and like learning all of that. This is just like easier, but has the same kind of feeling as a wrap. So that one is really great. And there's like a couple of different brands that, there are so many brands out there that are making baby carriers now. So, I mean, look at reviews, but chances are like whatever you get is probably going to be, as long as it's like approved by the National Hip Dysplasia Association, that's like the biggest thing. Yeah, and just like I would research to make sure it works for your body type. Baby carriers can just be so expensive, and to buy one and then have it not be used can not feel great sometimes. But these are my like favorite ones that I've worked with. There's another wrap that's called the Rebozo wrap. This is also a tool that can be used in pregnancy and for belly wrapping. I don't like this used as a baby carrier because it is too confusing for me to figure out how to tie. There's like a certain style of knot you have to do, and I wasn't like a Boy Scout who learns knots, so I don't know how to tie like the proper knot for it. But it's the word rebozo means shawl, and this like is a multi-use tool. But one of the things you can do, you can wrap it for belly support. So just tie it really tight postpartum and just tie it off to the side and have it as belly support. The other thing you can do is, this is really hard for me to demonstrate. So say while you're in labor, for those who are expecting, while you're in labor, say you're like on your hands and knees or in some kind of position where like maybe you're leaning against something like this, but your belly's kind of hanging forward. You can put this around your belly so that the two ends, are in the back, and have your partner hold it so they're supporting your belly. So that's one way people use it. The other type of belly wrap that you'll see postpartum, or like the traditional belly wrap, is the Bangkung belly bind. For those of you who are delivering with sacred transitions, we do this postpartum on day 3 postpartum, our home visit. We wrap you, but it's this like thin material. Usually they're prettier than this. They're all like brightly tie-dyed and beautiful. But I have a video that will show you how to do that style of wrapping if Tia wants to pull that up. It can be tricky to like learn, but once you have it down, it's pretty great. Oh, I think you need to, if you unmute yourself.
I'm still not hearing any sound.
I can't hear it either. I don't know if you guys necessarily need to, but this girl just has like a quick video where she does it. I
You're
just
not
want
hearing it?
to see what it looks like. No.
All right, I don't understand why that. I can hear it on my end.
Oh, do you have headphones in? Are they connected to the?
Let's try again. Let me turn the volume up a lot. Hear it?
No.
No?
No.
I don't really understand that. I get so loud on my computer.
Yeah. I wonder if you turn on. I don't know. I just want people to see what it looks like.
Okay.
Go. Maybe we can skip ahead to the part where she has it wrapped. The traditional one. She does 2 different kinds, but the traditional one is the one that I want. Yeah, like if you skip to there. It's the same motion that she does each time, where she wraps the longer piece around and then the little like tail end that she has does like a little knot and then pulls it back. And you keep doing that all the way up.
Most of this is music right now. No, and she's not really saying anything. So
And she leaves the like longer end because you'll have an end that's like still like this on the floor so that she can just like spin around instead of having to pick it up or have like her partner wrap it around her. And one of the things she said in the beginning is to do it either under your clothes or above your waistband. That way you don't have to take it off to go to the bathroom. You can just leave it on just for belly support. But that's what it looks like. And you can do it under your clothes and then just leave it on as long as you want to. And it's pretty like snug. It offers a lot of support. Yeah. She does another one, but it's not the traditional way of doing it, so we don't. But it's another way, like if you wanted to go and find this video and just see another way to do it.
we can send it. I can send the video in the email to everybody so that they can watch it after this.
The way she's doing it right now, she says like is a little bit looser at the end, but still offers a good amount of support.
Hold tight and flip over. Tucking in the side.
All right, that was the last thing on my list to go over, but I thought we'd have more time at the end, but if anyone has any questions, I was hoping to have a little bit of time at the end if anyone had something specific they wanted to ask.
I'm going to put the video in the chat.
So we have a specific question.
We were gifted this, but is this one that's not okay?
What's the brand?
It's Infantino. It says this, but I don't know. I'm still skeptical.
Yeah, it says that it keeps the legs in the M position, but
If it keeps the legs in the M position, it's safe. The other thing is a lot of these brands are redoing their carriers. Like Baby Bjorn just redid a bunch of theirs to meet the standards because people were like just not buying them anymore. Let's see, the Infantino.
up close newborn carrier.
Which one is that?
The up close newborn carrier.
That one's not listed on here, but the close ties in the cuddle up are. which seem like the same thing. Um, um, what year is that one from?
2018.
The ones from 2018 were just recalled. Sorry.
Patent pending.
Because I've always heard that you're not supposed to have the legs hanging, so.
If you guys want to try out one of the ones I have, I can always bring one to the birth center and you guys, or like a couple. I'm
We
gonna start.
do have a Mobi wrap, so that's what we're finding, but then someone got us this one, so.
And a friend is sending an Ergo baby. So I think we'll probably do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great job checking up on that, you guys. We have a question in the chat that says, how many bottles do we need to have for use with pumped breast milk?
One second.
We probably have,
I have a lactation consultant in the room, so I just pulled her in.
Perfect. Hi there.
This is my mother. She's also a doula.
Hey, Mom.
Do you need to have for use? What do you mean?
Well, so I guess like my question would be, do you mean, oh my gosh, my dog. He's like, I want to be part of this too.
Like a supply of bottles for pumping. So,
Or do you mean like, do you plan to pump, to have like for bottles throughout the entire day? Or do you mean just like for occasional use?
oh, I think that,
You're muted.
yeah.
Amy, you're muted.
I thought, okay, sorry about that. I think it was just a question like, we haven't purchased any bottles and we just were like, I don't know how many we would need to like have on supply to use that breast milk, you know, if I'm pumping. So.
And are you exclusively pumping or pumping just to supplement?
Just a supplement.
I feel like more is better than less because you'll find yourself feeding with the bottle and then maybe baby goes to sleep and you want to rest, and that whole process can sometimes take a long time. So you might not feel like washing the bottles every time you use them. So it's nice to have like a bowl of soapy water in the sink and just kind of throw the bottles in there and wash them all maybe at the end of the day or first thing in the morning. So I would definitely want to have probably like 5 bottles to start if you're just supplementing, and then see how that goes. But I'm with a baby right now who eats very, very frequently. And I find myself kind of all of a sudden at the end of my shift having like probably like 8 bottles to wash. So, but he's drinking a lot more pumped milk in combination with formula. So I think 5 is a good starting point if you're just supplementing.
Do you have a favorite bottle brand?
I find in my doula work that people seem to really like the Dr. Brown's bottles. I also really like the Avent brand a lot. And they also have a glass bottle if that is something that you're drawn to.
Dr. Brown does too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
And it's very like sturdy. I
Yeah.
think we've dropped them a couple of times.
But yeah, those are the most popular, and I feel like they both work really well.
I would get a couple different types because you never know what your baby's going to take. My oldest took to Dr. Brown's immediately. My second, we have tried 3 different types of bottles and he still has yet to take
a full bottle. He just doesn't like, he prefers to nurse, which is totally fine until he goes to daycare.
The other thing you can do is so like Amazon, Walmart, Target, all of these like sites usually like if you create a registry, even if you're not using them and like buying anything off the registry, Amazon you have to buy something off your registry, but you can put like an item you were gonna buy anyways and then like just add it to your registry and buy it and then they'll send you like the gift. But their welcome bags come with bottles. They usually send a Dr. Brown, Nook and Ma'am send one, but that's a good way to like get just a couple bottles to have on hand to try.
That's how we got all of ours.
Yeah. The other thing a lot of people do is if you plan to nurse exclusively or like for the most part, if most of the milk your infant is getting is directly from the breast, some people like to use the preemie nipple size in the bottle in the beginning because the flow of it is more similar to the breast. So babies are less likely to prefer the bottle over the breast because a lot of times what happens is the bottle has a faster flow and the baby will prefer that and then not want to nurse. So a lot of people use the preemie nipple size. Is there any other questions? You're also all welcome to like email me any random question anytime. Like I really am happy to answer, even if it seems like the most random thing. I'd rather you email me and like get one solid answer than like post in a mom's group and have like 40 comments that are like confusing you.
Her email is CC'd on the group email that I sent with the link. But I can also include that if anybody needs it.
And then any of you who are delivering at the birth center, I run Sacred Transitions Instagram now. So anything you message will be sent to me. Becca decided to put someone young in charge of her social media because she doesn't use any of it. I was very excited to take it over. But that's also a great way for everyone to stay connected. Any of those platforms. And then I'm sure Tia will probably send out the playgroup information if anyone's interested in getting in the virtual playgroup. It really is awesome. I really enjoyed attending it, and a lot of it's just a great way for parents to jump in and share advice, and all the kids were kind of on there and socializing with each other, even though it was over over Zoom. It was very cute to watch.
Yeah, in this weird Zoom world, the positive of that is that we, again, don't have geographic restrictions, so anybody can hop on Playgroup. And even when we are in person at the family place, some of our programs are exclusive to Vermont residents, but Playgroup is not. Playgroup is for everyone. So it doesn't matter where you live, you're always welcome to come. Well,
and the nice thing about Zoom is in the winters, I feel like that's been one of the really great things is you don't have to try to drive out on the snowy, cold, get you and your baby bundled up, which another thing, car seat safety. If you buy your baby a snowsuit, you cannot put your baby in the snowsuit in the car seat. It is too thick. It is not safe. I'll probably end up trying to coordinate a car seat safety course for parents at some point. I don't know if it'll be through the family place or through the birth center, but there are a lot of local car seat techs. If you're in the Upper Valley, the Women's Health Resource Center has one, and you can go in there and just ask any questions. You're not allowed to leave the place that you gave birth at until someone there sees that the baby is safely in their car seat. So they'll make sure, that every the straps and everything are placed where the chest clip is where it should be, all of that. But yeah, snowsuits and really thick anything on your baby makes it so that they're not properly strapped in. And if you were to get in an accident, they would not, the straps would not work properly. So it's better to get a thin outfit to put them on. Wool is great. It's the best way to keep your baby warm in the winter, especially up here. And then just have like a nice cozy blanket or something to put over them during like the walk out to the car.
A lot of local fire departments are also a great resource for car seat safety installation. They usually have somebody right on site. You can call ahead and they'll give you a time to drive up, or sometimes people have just stopped in.
Yeah, usually you just drive up and like what even if you organize ahead of time, like it's just a drive up kind of thing and they'll look at it, either install it for you. I recommend if you go there, some of the people are really quick to just install it for you. Have them explain to you what they're doing, because there's going to be a time period where you're going to have to like remove your car seat, and if you don't know how to put it back in, you're going to be like Googling all of it is just very confusing. So try to like see what they're doing, just so you at least know a little bit. A lot of infant car seats actually like Graco and oh my gosh, what car seat does Sam have? No,
Britics?
what's that new one that everyone's getting? The Up a Baby. They have they still have the part where you can just use a seatbelt to strap them in. So if you're ever in like an emergency situation, you do not have to have the base of your car seat. There is a part where on the top of the car seat where once the baby's in, strapped in, you take a normal seatbelt, you loop it through, buckle it in, pull the seatbelt all the way, pull it all the way out so it locks, and like tighten it all the way. But if you're ever in a situation where like all you have is their car seat and not their base, your car seat probably has that. So that's something good to know ahead of time is if your car seat is designed that way.
Safekids.org is a website where you can go and look up and find local car seat technicians in the area. And then the Women's Health Resource Center, which you mentioned, Jess, but also the Injury Prevention Center at the Children's Hospital at Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Okay.
Their staff, they have car seat techs on their staff, and they're willing to do car seat checks for folks as well. I think if not all of their staff, most of their staff are certified car seat techs. There's also a Facebook group, Car Seats for Littles, I think is what it's called. They have car seat techs as moderators of their Facebook group. And so you can take a picture of your car seat install and ask questions of car seats to techs on Facebook as well. If you need a quick answer, I've used it constantly, especially when we switched from an infant seat to a convertible car seat, just having questions about different things, because it's different when you go from an infant seat to a convertible. But their Safe Kids and Injury Prevention Center, as well as Women's Health, are also really great resources.
Can I ask about
It cut out.
of the car seat in the middle seat in the back, because that prevents against side impact crashes? Do you have an opinion about middle or on like behind the driver?
Zach, you're cutting out, but it sounds like you're asking about placement of the car seat in the back seat, whether it's behind the driver, behind the passenger, or in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check your vehicle manual. Your vehicle manual might have information on where you can place car seats, but usually it's wherever you can get the safest, best install is where your car seat should go.
Were you going to say something? There's also, you can use a seatbelt to install your car seat, or some cars have a latch system. So if you're going to use the middle seat, check to see. I mean, I don't think like most cars have this now, but you know how some cars just have the lap belt in the middle, some older cars. I know that like my first car the year was like a 2003 and it only had the lap belt. So I had to use a latch system when installing the car seat there. So also check for things like that. And then also, I don't know what my mom like came in. I thought she was going to say something, but make sure you can get in, like it's in a spot where you can get in the car to like put the car seat in. Like if you're going to put your car seat in if you have a third row of seats, make sure you can actually like get back there to get your child in their car seat, because lifting an infant car seat and having to like climb over a set of seats, and yeah. So do like a trial run, get your car seat installed, and then just put practice carrying it out to the car and making sure you can get it in easily.
Great questions, you guys.
All right, I think that's all I had to go over, but you guys are welcome to email me anytime, reach out with any questions. I'm really happy to answer whatever.
Thank you.
You're
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jess. This has been a really informative and great workshop. I've learned a lot tonight too. Please thank your mom for us for being a guest appearance tonight. I think that was really neat to have both of you on, sharing your knowledge.
the
And
mother of
I-
7 and a doula now. So
oh my gosh, wealth of wisdom.
I
Wealth of
forced her
wisdom.
into the doula work. I was like, you got to have a job where you're snuggling babies and working with moms. But 7 kids, she's got.
She got
she's-
it down.
Yeah, she's an expert, a pro.
Love it. All right, well, I will follow up with an email with some of those resources and websites. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. I think it was a really great workshop, and thank you again, Jess. Hope you guys have a great night, and don't hesitate to email Jess with your follow-up questions, or me if you have any questions about parent-child centers, the family place, programming, play group, and things like that.
It was good seeing you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.